So originally I wasn't gonna do this video until tomorrow, but I figured I might as well just get it out the way now, sort of, because it's still fresh in my head. So Legacy, I don't. There's just times when you watch this show and you just, again, maybe I don't get it, or I don't get like. Because, the show is really created for, like, teens, people that are, like, 18 and under and stuff like that. So, there's certain times I'm just not going to really get it. But this show, I don't understand this show. I really don't. Like, Hope. So pretty much, I mean, if you've been watching the show so far, everyone forgot about her, but she somehow got out the pit, and she could have told her friends in Landon that she was back. She said she didn't want to tell Landon because she felt he was happy with Josie. I'm like, okay, I think it should have been his right to know, but whatever. But what about like your friends? MG, even Lizzie, Raphael, like, Caleb. Nobody? You didn't bother to tell anyone. Like, I almost felt as though she was just like, oh, well, if I can't have my boyfriend back, then I don't want to be bothered with anyone. And I'm like, it really shows you her maturity level. So I'm not going to come back to my friends that know me and, I love them and stuff like that, and we're pretty much like family, but I'm not going to come back to them because somebody else is my girl and apparently she's happy. Like, I just feel like that's just so fucking immature and selfish in itself. So I don't understand that. And that was this whole fucking love triangle between Josie and Landon and Hope, and I'm just like, Landon. Like, really? This who we arguing over? Landon? Landon. That's the guy that the two hot chicks want to sit there and argue over. Fucking Landon. That's okay. Alright, wow. Wow. Man, talking about setting the fucking bar low. I don't understand that. I don't get that. And then the thing with Landon that kind of bothers me a little bit is that he's a phoenix and his only power is to come back from the dead. He doesn't have super speed. He doesn't have super strength. He's not really durable. He just has infinite continues. That's pretty much Landon. That's his powers. Infinite lives. I mean, if he had like projectiles or something like that, if he can burn people, he's a phoenix. I don't get it. Even on Teen Wolf, the guy that was he was a hellhound. He can burn people, like that was one of his, besides like strength and durability, he can burn people. He can literally set people on fire with his touch. But they didn't give Landon any of that. And this whole time, the only thing he's really good at doing is running and having other people sit there and save his ass. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to pull. I don't get it. If this is some sort of, let's find a way to sit there and emasculate men, well, they pretty sure they got that shit done. And don't get me wrong, no, just to get this out the way, I don't care if it's a woman saving a man, if she's badass or whatever, that's fine. But it's one of those things where it just feels like he's always being saved by someone else. Like, always being saved by someone else. I don't... Show, I don't... It's so fucking teeny boppy. It's so fucking teeny boppy. And granted, there are some great moments in the show, especially for people who watch like the originals. So, spoiler alert. I'll give you a minute. If you didn't watch this episode. Okay. So Freya comes back. Really cool. It was really exciting to see her. Find out what's going on in her life and stuff. Apparently she has a son with her wife. So I was like, alright, that's cool. And it was one of those things where it was really interesting to find out like the effects that it had on Holt's family, of her family not even remembering her. At the end, Lan is all like, because Josie's pretty much like, oh, for me being selfish, I felt like I was pretty selfish. And Lan is like, oh, you're the least selfish person that I know. It's like, she didn't know exactly who Hope was, and she didn't say anything to not just Landon, but her friends and her family. So let's not sit there and act like she is totally innocent. Yes, she is a caregiver. She's always been there for her sister, her dad. It's just who she is. It's within her nature. But people are fallible, and I really do think that he should have kind of called her out on it. Next week it's the love triangle. And he even put it in the fucking title because apparently, this is what we needed, a love triangle. Because why? Teenagers. That's pretty much the only answer I can come up with. Fucking teenagers. 1 second. But yeah, teenagers. And they did the whole love triangle thing. Excuse me. With the Vampire Diaries. Stefan, Damon, and Elena. But then Elena was gone towards the end, and it wasn't a love triangle anymore. So, yeah, I get it. It's a show that's for mostly girls, and girls like romance, and they love love triangles. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. It worked towards the end of, the Vampire Diaries. They didn't have any in the originals. I know there was some, from what I read, there was supposed to be a love triangle between, Klaus, Elijah, and Cammy. That was supposed to be a love triangle. But they're, I guess they just kind of looked at it and was just like, yeah, no. So they didn't do it. Which worked out well. I don't know, maybe it is, and granted, I'm not saying that guys can't love triangles also. I'm just saying, I just, putting this whole love triangle thing and, shipping of people, and I just, sometimes all that stuff just kind of just muddles up everything, and I don't know. I kind of find it, to be honest, I don't really care. I don't really care, and, if we're being honest, I don't really think that Lana's that special. Yes, I mean, I don't know. I don't look at guys that way, but, I guess he's a good-looking guy from a woman's perspective, I guess. So, it's not like he's whatever, but I don't know, he likes a lot of geek and nerd stuff, which is pretty cool. Because I can relate to that. I think a lot of guys I think a lot of guys who isn't to the geek culture could understand that. I don't know. Besides that, I mean, I don't know. I can't say. Here's the thing. I can't sit there and go on his looks because, whatever. But other than that, I mean, he's okay. He's, he seems like he's nice. He has a good heart, and he's very caring and very protective of his friends and loved ones and stuff like that. And I guess for that reason, sure. But I mean, the Salvatore school, let's just call it what it is. The Harry Potter school has tons of other guys who, let's be fair, are probably better than him in every aspect, every way, from probably not just looks, but like somebody that can actually hold their own in a fight, that can actually defend them and not always need rescuing. My point is, it's not like it's a very small school and only a few people. I'm like, why on earth do you have two good-looking women fighting over him? Landon. Really? This is really the okay. Alright. Man, I miss the days of Elijah and Klaus. Klaus particularly, because he is my favorite vampire. I know he's vampire and werewolf, but he is my favorite vampire of all time. And then Elijah. I miss the good old days of Elijah. Because at least when women sit there and talk about him, how he was this, that, and the third, it's like, you know what? The dude is pretty smooth. So I gotta sit there and hand him his, I gotta just tip my hat and just bow down, The dude is pretty smooth, He's a very great character all around. But Landon? Really? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't. Klaus was a badass. He was a charmer. And, he did actually have a heart of gold even when he was, killing people and shit. Well, he had a heart of gold later on. But I don't know. I don't understand the appeal with Landon. I don't get it. It's like he needs saving every 5 minutes, and I don't know. Maybe it would help if they would upgrade his powers or something like that. Like, give him some sort of strength or to be able to fight well or something. The dude can't fight for shit. He seems like he can't hold his own in the fight. He doesn't actually have super strength or super speed or anything. He just has, unlimited lives. So all around, I just don't find him worthy of not one, but two women fighting over him. And I don't want to harp on the show like it's completely trash, because it's not. They do have some good moments, and sometimes they actually have some really good, funny scenes. I think, well, yeah, there's a couple of them. I do remember the Mummy episode, which, by the way, Mummy, whatever. At least the first season, like the very comedic part was when they were in the in the van. And I don't know, it's something about the fact that Josie had motion sickness and just kept throwing up, and like they just kept like sniping each other back and forth. It was just funny. So they do have some good moments. They do have some good character moments. I don't know what's gonna happen with Caleb's sister. Maybe she's just there to visit for that one day, but I don't know. And honestly, tell you the truth, it seems like to be two love triangles going on, if we're being honest. Because we have that new guy. Which, by the way, because now I'm going on a rant, but by the way, this new guy, I don't remember what his name is, the one from the Victoria era. Unless he was still a newborn, like pretty recent newborn vampire, I don't understand how he didn't just toss MG and Caleb like ragdogs. Because the rule of it is, unless they just threw out fucking continuity, the older a vampire is, the stronger that they are. So, and granted, I get that he hasn't fed in a while, but I'm pretty sure he must have probably fed at some point again. I'm having a hard time grasping. Maybe they'll explain it later on. Maybe if he gets into another fight with one of these vampires, it'll make more sense. I remember when in the originals, Rebecca woke up when she was in the witch body, then she got back into her original body, and she hadn't fed in blood, like she hasn't actually drank blood in like 6 months. So she was fighting that woman, Aura, or some girl from the Strix. Now granted, that girl was not just an average vampire. Like, she had years on her. Plus the training, she was a really good fighter. So she's going up against Rebecca, and Rebecca's actually having a more difficult time because she hasn't fed in a while. She does want up beating her, but it's not without its struggles, and that's because she hasn't fed in a while. So I'm sitting there thinking maybe that rule still applies to that Victorian guy that I don't even know his name. I don't even remember if they even said his name, but my whole point was like when they were able to like subdue him and like like hold him back, I was just like, wait a minute, so this guy's from the Victorian era, he's supposed to be strong as shit, and he's getting held back by two teenagers? Like, really? That's really okay. To be fair, and again, I don't know this, but I don't know when Caleb and MG actually turned into vampires. I don't know if it was recent. I don't know how long ago it was. But it seemed like it must have been somewhat recent because, at least with MG, because her parents are probably in like their 40s or 50s or whatever, give or take. So I think he's still pretty much, I'm going to sit there and say a newborn vampire, but he doesn't actually have any years on him. I'm assuming the same thing with Caleb. So, it just, like when I saw that, I just had to sit there and say something. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. This guy from Victoria era is getting held back by practically two newborns. But he should have been able to handle them easily. But again, it kind of bothered me for a little bit, but then I was like, wait a minute. Maybe because they haven't fed in a while. So, anyway, that is my quick rant on Legacy. This show. I honestly tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't for me loving like the Vampire Diaries and loving even more the originals, I probably would have, skipped on this show. I probably would have watched like the first 2 episodes. Or maybe even the first one and be like, nah, this show isn't for me. But because I do love that world and there are some good moments, I do... Well, generally, I do like the show. I just think it's not as good as the Vampire Diaries. And we're not even going to get into the originals, because that's on a whole nother level. But it's not as good as the Vampire Diaries. Because the Vampire Diaries had a lot of good things going for itself. Yeah, it did with the love triangle, it did with romance, but it also did with action though, too. You got to see some great fights between, like, the vampires and, like, the hunters and stuff like that, and then you had, like, the heretics and, the travelers. I mean, you had a lot of good stuff in that show. Like, it did actually have its good action moments. Michael, still probably one of the greatest villains of all time in both shows. And then we just get to Legacy, and it's just fucking teenage drama, and it just... characters that I don't... And granted, I don't hate Hope, but I don't really understand it. And now, everyone remembers everything, so Raphael's like, oh, listen, I like you, but, my boy likes you, so I'm going to have to step away again. And I'm like, why do we keep doing this for? You're either going to ask her out, or you're just going to sit there and let it go. This whole pull and push shit was something else that started to get annoying. Like, when I saw him talk to Hope, and Hope was like, oh, you can sit down. Me personally, I probably just would have been offended, because I would have been like, yo, I'm not a consolation prize for my brother. Let's just get that shit out the way right now. But just a simple fact, he was like, yeah, I like you and I have feelings for you. Oh, cool. Great timing. You're just fucking telling her now. But, my brother likes you, even though he's with somebody else. So we can't be together anymore. Bye. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? See, this is why sometimes I'm just like, damn, man, I miss Teen Wolf. I miss Teen Wolf because, yeah, they had their teenage drama and stuff like that, but their teenage drama was nothing compared to Legacy. But to be fair, I felt like that show was probably more for guys than women to some extent. So whatever. I don't get this show. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's a show, and it's. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't want it to be canceled, and I do like the show, but this show is just. As far as quality goes compared to the other ones, it's not there. It's not there. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if it's ever going to be there. I mean, granted, yeah, they did a great job with those shows, and they left big shoes to fill. I know some people, especially in the Legacy, like, I guess, site or whatever, they'll be like, oh, well, Vampire Diaries is trash compared to Legacy. I was like, really? How old are you? Because then I sit there and think, I'm like, you know what? Because Legacy is targeting a certain audience. Granted, Vampire Diaries is doing that too, but just something about Legacy. And it's not so much that, you can see some of the woke messages mixed in there with it. Like I said, last episode, she was to talk about the patriarchy. And I was like, oh, fuck you. Fuck you. First of all, the patriarchy doesn't exist. It just doesn't. But saying stuff like that is like those caption words like, oh yeah, I remember the patriarchy. Down with the patriarchy. That's great. That's great. You're feeding these idiots. It's like they try to use a lot of verbiage to sit there and like capture certain audiences in certain fucking SJWs by saying patriarchy. It's not the fucking first time that they use that word. But, again, this is what they go for, they go for that social justice warrior shit. By saying the patriarchy, and, us women going to sit there and be strong and blah, 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 blah. It's like, you can be a strong woman without announcing it every 5 minutes. Because here's the thing, bragging about you being a strong woman or constantly sitting there trying to reassure other people that you're a really strong woman doesn't make you so strong. It just doesn't. And I am getting way off tangent. Anyway, that is my long-winded rant and somewhat thoughts on Legacy. I'm not even going to call it a review because I didn't really sit there and talk about much of the show. I mean, they fought like a fucking plant monster. That's the truth. That's like, kills people for lying, because that's the thing. Honestly, to tell you the truth, it was another monster of the week, and apparently they got zombies now, because why not? Because, just throw every sort of fucking creature in there. They got dragons, they got spiders. Zombies was a fucking obvious choice. And, the Venus flytrapper thing, because, whatever, dude. Whatever. Honestly, to tell you the truth, the next episode seems like teen drama, but I know they're going to put they're going to put something good in there to Landon's, because, Anyway, that's enough of that.